Greetings and welcome to Business Chronicles. My name is Solomon Tumwesigye. I'm one of your hosts here at Studio 84 on this podcast, Business Chronicles. Studio 84 is a podcast studio set up here in Bugolobi along Lithuli Avenue in Kampala, Uganda, and it's a space set up to facilitate individuals and organizations tell their stories and along the way position themselves as authorities at what they do, because we believe that everyone has a story to tell and is an authority at something. How it works: reach out to us, book your studio time. We can guide you from concept development to creating visuals for your podcast program or channel, to setting it up, to we even facilitate posting and managing your socials. So that's how it goes here at Studio 84. As usual, if you have not subscribed, this is a good time to subscribe and hit the bell, because that way you'll be the first one to know when the next episode is up and running. And today I am privileged to host a lady whose name, I know her from the entrepreneurial side of life, but the people who hear her name will most likely connect with her from her past very rich corporate life that she has since put behind her, and she has very many stories to tell. May God be with us today, because I don't know whether we'll do this in our usual 30 minutes. She speaks slow and has so many stories and is such a well of wisdom of life. Please note, I didn't say corporate or business or whatever, but life in general. Judith, just like every guest of mine gets an opportunity to introduce themselves. So please introduce yourself and tell us what you're up to lately.
Solomon, thank you. Thank you for that introduction.
Yes.
I am super happy to be here.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to God for the gift of life. My name is Judith Owembabazi. I am the founder and the ED of Check in Africa.
Yeah.
And like you said, I have had my stints in the corporate world, which are way behind me. And I am super excited to reinvent myself in an entire new space, in renewable energy, in conserving and preserving our environment, in skilling and retooling young people and women. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm blessed. Thank you.
So this is one of the guests where I say needs no introduction. I was there a few days ago when she met someone and tried to introduce herself, and the person said, no, I know you actually. How often do you get that, Judith?
All the time.
How does it feel? Does it feel uncomfortable many times? Because most of those people, you don't know them.
No, I don't. But I'm somebody that generally lives in the moment.
Yeah.
So I survive.
Yeah.
I sometimes I'm mortified because I don't know them.
Yes.
I can't. Or sometimes I see the face and I know it and I can't recall where, when, what.
I know.
But I get it all the time. The other day I was telling somebody that my children, when I walk with them, they bet. Like when we enter a space or a supermarket, it says she knows that person, then they bet. And indeed, we will stop and talk. But it's also very humbling and very heartwarming, because doing life in my past, I didn't know what it meant until now. I didn't know how many people. You never know who you impact.
Who you're impacting, who you're interacting with, and where you will meet them.
Yes.
Judith, now we are like in the 75% of our conversation, because usually this conversation comes out much later.
Okay.
But listen, first things first. I like to ask my guests what the thinking and the mind behind their business name is. What about check-in?
Okay.
It's not a travel agency.
No,
checking it.
A lot of people think it's about travel because they know I love to travel. That's a story for another day. Check in Africa is a post-COVID arrangement.
Yes.
It didn't start with charcoal dust.
Yes.
It started with what we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
After COVID, I got all these phone calls from people seeking for help, seeking for counseling for their children who had refused to go back to school. And I had also just left my job, and I didn't have a lot of answers. But I prayed to God that He uses me to, even if it is to put a smile on one's face. And so I started a program under one of my communications company, Goldbird Communications, called Check-in with Judith. And along the way, I started to receive calls from all over Africa. It became complicated. Different people were calling. You know, in the job market, sometimes, a lot of times, it is still a boys' world.
Yeah.
So in an environment where the big man doesn't like you, and it's two of you, Solomon and Judith, chances are Judith will go home.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Post-COVID, as organizations reorganized themselves,
Many
we found
Judiths
ourselves at home.
Yes.
And then, yeah, praying with people and saying, God bless you, was not sufficient.
Yes.
So people checked in with Judith. There's a team of young people I was supporting from time to time, mentoring as they did their business, online marketing. And they told me, Mommy, you know what? This can no longer be a project. It's going to be a company on its own. So we grew it into Check-in Africa. And along the way, as I was mentoring people, encouraging them, I felt it was not enough. It's like finding a beggar by the roadside, and you say, God bless you.
No.
So I started a quest where I wanted to be able not only to speak into their lives, but to equip them with a skill that they would use. At the same time, for me to also be able to have a livelihood, to take care of all these people that meantime I was collecting people at home. I have like 15 people at home, and I don't know how I'm going to feed them or what I'm going to do with them. So that way, Check-in Africa was born. Along the way, I wanted to add value to the banana plant. Those who know me know that a long time ago, I owned a company called My Matoke, and I used to put peeled bananas in fridges.
Yes.
And so this time I wanted to do a project whereby I can refine and recycle the banana stem.
Yes.
And everything else in between to create sanitary towels for the women so they can use and also sell, to create diapers, to create cloth, many things.
You may have your phones.
So,
yes.
So along the way, I went to visit this professor from Chambogo. Somebody told me, Auntie, I saw a guy who does the things you want to do.
Yes.
I said, let's go. I met this gentleman in Sunday. We spoke for about 5 hours.
Wow.
And when we were done, I realized I didn't have the capital that I needed to start that business venture. But I knew it would employ very many women. I had set up a banana plantation, a couple of acres. So I was excited. But I realized that I needed a lot of machinery. It was capital intensive, it was labor intensive. But then as I was walking out of his office, excited, he was doing everything I wanted, including the hair.
Yes.
100% biodegradable. And then I asked him, because I'm an environmentalist, so how do you dispose of your waste? And that's how the briquettes were born.
Wow.
He showed me a briquette. I'd never seen it. I told him, yeah, there's a young man here that I'm mentoring. So I gave him this part of the business from the waste. We process it, and then we create
briquettes.
You don't know the excitement. Many women across the world are struggling to put a meal on the table because they don't have fuel to use. I had always been passionate about changing that trajectory also, in terms of why do we use firewood? The smoke irritates my eyes, it makes me cough. So now we opened a whole different chapter and went back in the office and started talking. And he was gracious enough. He said he would mentor me.
After the 5 hours of the banana
of
stem
the banana stem, we did another 3. And green charcoal was born even before I left. It was exciting. I realized that I could start now from the tail end.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes, yes.
So we start from the tail end and we are able to recycle. We are able to repurpose, including things as simple as already existing biochar in form of charcoal dust, wood dust. All agricultural waste could be repurposed. And then the ladies and the young people that I was looking into helping, boom, it made sense. I could support them to supply me with raw materials. I could support them to come and learn how to make the briquettes. I could support them. They could go and do sales. And most importantly, they could sell and make some money, so improve their livelihoods. So for me, it was just that light bulb moment.
I love this story, Judith, especially because you were able to get the light bulb moment and be able to start with what you have. Not be stuck in the dream and the detail of needing so much money to get machinery and equipment. Here is a business idea that is exciting for you, preserves the environment, and all the materials are right there. And you have the manpower. Basically, it's a win-win situation. Before I go on to the next question, is the dream for the banana fiber stem still alive?
There are so many dreams, Solomon. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let me tell you, a long time ago, as I worked for one of the banks, I registered 2 companies, one called My Matoke, one called My Charcoal. Yeah. Some things are prophetic, except that sometimes we never get to know.
Yeah.
Until it's much later. You know, dots connect backwards.
Yes.
I think that's where God wanted me to be. And for me, I was busy pushing it, going into all these splash corporate organizations, but which was also okay because it is part of the foundations.
It is.
I wanted to quickly first tell you that
it's all a setup for a time like this.
Yes, you know.
Yeah.
That's when the dots connect. It wasn't just obvious for me to say, let me do the briquette now. In my past, I had had conversations with 2 gentlemen. They may not even be aware that they said this to me. One is called Ruhweza James Afande. He's a senior police personnel in this town. One time, I had a conversation with him in a difficult situation, and he told me, Judy, if God gives you things, you must steward them correctly. Yes. If you don't, he will take them away.
That's a true
That
story.
hit me like a slap. I had never reflected on that. I'd get things and then people would take them and then I would say, it's okay. And then those who know me, my nickname at school was It's Okay. So I would say it's okay. Another friend of mine, Stephen Luyonjo, is an accountant. After I left the job and I was touching here and there, doing many things, trying to support people, he told me, Judy, you must use what you have to go where you want to go. He told me you are in a very privileged position compared to so many women, so many people in this country. He told me you're part of the 0.001% in this country of women that can be called upon and say, you have made it.
Yes.
You have done well. It humbled me so much. So he said, stop looking around.
You are the around.
Yes. Guess what happened after that?
After that,
I started the Green Charcoal Project and I started it at home. Remember, I was looking for resources.
Yes.
Now. So I needed land for a factory.
I know.
So I needed all these things. And I started with one machine. And I never went into debt. And we are growing slowly, but we are growing well by God's grace. I first went to Mbarara. I started from Mbarara. I closed off a plot of land. I think I showed it to you some time back.
Yes.
And then we started there with just 2 machines. And this young man's goodwill to support me, his name is Simon, was incredible. He came from some place, he was in Movendo or something, he drove, he came, he helped me to get started. Then I realized that you can use what you have. And what you have sometimes includes favor. It includes leveraging your networks, your friendships. I was somebody that never leveraged friendships. One time I was at the bank working, and one of the drivers, my friend Amos, came to me and said, "You've never even asked me to drop your kids, but you sit on the board of my school. Don't you think sometimes you need help? Do you think you can do everything on your own? Why don't you ask for help? Why do you have friends?"
But asking for help can be a problem.
It is challenging. I still struggle.
I have met people like you.
I struggle to ask for help, and I also struggle to take compliments. It's a space where, self-esteem is still growing.
You know, we need to have a podcast about asking for help. There are people who struggle to ask for help. It can be so bad that even when you offer them help, they will struggle to take it.
Yes. I have been one of those people, but I am growing into it. So I'll tell you one last gentleman that spoke into my life about that.
Yeah.
So there is a priest called Father Raymond. They gave him a Luganda name, also Kalanzi. In all of these struggles, those who know me also know me for being a little bit closely entangled with the Lord. So I decided to go to Father Raymond because I'd reached a level where I said I was beginning to get overwhelmed by the people I was supporting, by my own shenanigans. I have to take care of my children, I have to take care of my mom, she's blind, I have to take care of myself. I don't know how to be without a job after this long.
There's that one too.
And the phone calls stop coming.
I know.
Solomon, people stop calling you.
Yeah, the phone stops ringing.
Yeah, and also when you call people, even if you're just checking in, they are on the edge.
Yeah.
They are waiting. You can hear the silence when people are waiting to say, "What do you need?" So oftentimes when I call people, I say, "I don't want anything. I'm just checking on you." I put a disclaimer immediately because I'm checking on my friends. Anyway, Father Raymond, those who know him, he sprinkles some holy water on you and speaks into your life prophetically, like in 3 seconds, which feels like 1 hour. And so he told me that, "Oh, so you left your job?" He asked me who the cause was, mentioned some names, and they were true. I was in shock. I was with my little daughter, Chloe, and we wanted to travel out of the country. And so he told me, "Oh, lady, my sister, you are so charitable. But today I want you to know that you have become the charity case, so you must stop your charity activities." Do you know what that means, Solomon? He told me I was the charity case. I should stop thinking that I am the one helping.
You're the one who needs help.
Who needed help. That was like a slap in my face.
You have never been at this point in your life.
No. Even when I was the case, I was always the one giving.
Exactly.
And so he told me. And he prophetically also told me that I should not look for a job for 7 years. Of course, I didn't pay attention. I tried. And God would make sure that I qualify, I get the jobs, but I don't report.
Hold on, Judith. So, for our viewers and listeners, especially our viewers, this is Business Chronicles. But Judith has stories. Her faith life, her all that stuff. Now, for your benefit, if you really want to know what happened, I'm going to drop a link up here. Right now, it should be there. Follow that. There's a whole life story up there. You will watch it there.
Let's come back to Check in Africa.
Let's come back to Business Chronicles. Judith, what's your background? I know you didn't study to do, briquettes.
Well, I don't even know my background. I have studied so many things, Solomon. I have studied life. I have studied mass comm.
What's the first thing you studied? Okay.
At campus. We start with campus.
What combination did you do at A level?
I did healthy. Does it still exist? That's what I did.
No way.
Yes.
Where?
Maryhill High School, 6 years.
You're in Maryhill?
Yes.
Did healthy?
Yes.
Did you get government sponsorship?
No.
Okay.
I didn't.
So you go to campus, Makere?
No, I first went to Butere University. Did a stint at law school.
Oh, you went to, okay.
Yes. A stint.
Mm-hmm.
Then I left. It's a
How
long
many
story.
months?
I'll not get into it.
Okay, don't get into it. What?
I came back. I did mass comm. We were the pioneer evening class for mass comm.
No way.
Incredible class. Incredible star-studded class.
So do mass comm, finish, graduate, then what? What was your first job?
I was already working.
Okay.
Because I was paying my tuition. I worked in Bank of Uganda, then I worked in UCB. Stanbic took over. I was there. I was on the committee that was supporting the takeover. And then I went to Housing Finance Bank.
You're the ones who bought it at $1.
No, I was the one who was writing the articles for it not to go down. I'm very sad. I lost. And I'm very sad because my mom worked in UCB.
I know.
Yeah, but it's all well. And so I was that sad. That's why I left Stanbic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I went to Housing Finance. I started their marketing department.
Yeah.
And a couple of others, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
And then I studied computer science. Yes.
But Judith, with a thriving career that you were having in marketing, right?
No, that was before I even studied marketing. After that, I went to study marketing.
So why did you study computer science?
Oh, I also studied oil and gas and project management.
What are you going to study next?
I was thinking last evening that maybe it won't hurt if I study something for my PhD. But then the Lord has told me to first finish my Bible college. 3 years.
I think you should go to Caris Bible College.
I am at Caris. After here, I'm going to Caris. I have class.
Okay. Slow down.
Okay.
Take me back.
What did I study?
So you do mass comm.
You
finish mass comm.
And they asked me to stay and teach because I came top of my class, by God's grace. And I'm thinking, no. I was still restless.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I did mass comm because that's what was available. When I came back from Kigali, everyone had already started. But mass comm evening was just about to be launched. I had no idea what that meant. Journalism, yala yala. I didn't know. I was young.
Yeah, but Judith, thinking about how we went through school and the things we studied, it disturbs me every time I hear it because people did not study. We did not study. Many people did not study the things they were passionate about.
No, we didn't.
They studied the things that their grades gave them.
Yes, also the things that people talked well about. For example, people told me, oh, mass comm is cool. You become a journalist. And I'm thinking, what do journalists do? Then they told me they write stories. And all the stories I see in the newspapers are sad. Too much blood. And I am averse to all of that. I'm averse to pain. Yeah. So I decided to specialize in PR and economics. So that's what I specialized in.
So you studied, how long was that? How long was the course?
3 years.
Degree 3 years?
Yes.
You finish? Where do you work now?
At that point, I was in UCB.
Yes, you're still in UCB.
I'm still in UCB. Yeah. Dr. Hamulira. I am in UCB. I'm an intern in PR, but I spend all of my time in MIS because I love gadgets, because I love computers.
What is MIS?
Management Information Systems.
Okay,
or today they call them IT departments.
That's how you get to study computer science.
Yeah, he called his wife. She was the head of computer science
Yes.
department. I said, there's a young lady here. She's misplaced. You need to take her up.
Get out of mass comm things.
So I went and reported. And that's how I studied computer science. And by the time we finished, Professor Badia was now the in charge.
Yes, the dean.
Yes.
Yeah.
So by that time, he was the head
Yeah.
of computer science. We sit in statistics.
Yeah.
We didn't have that house.
Yes.
I'm
yes,
humbled
yes.
to have been part of the team that wrote the proposal that
Wow.
did the funding for that structure. That's at Makerere.
Wow.
Yeah. So Badia was like, you're staying here. You're going to go and study a master's. You're going to go and do a PhD in computer science. And I was thinking, I don't want to talk to computers all my life. I want to talk to people. I was a bit restless. I stayed there, lectured a little bit at the Institute of Computer Science, did some consulting. I remember I did his first logo for his company, ICT Consults. If you've seen it anywhere, that logo was my first creation.
Wow.
Using very old-fashioned
rudimentary tools.
Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. There was no words, there was no window, there was no Google, there was no internet. There was just life. A blank screen with a cursor blinking. You had to figure out what to do with it. But I bless God for all that time I was learning. When I was on campus, I was learning because I had the coolest classmates. I'd spend my entire time in the British Council library. That's where we used to get information from, not on the internet.
Wow.
And then I would write courseworks for people to be able to raise my school fees.
You know, I just to take you back a little bit, I don't know where Professor Barrier is. Mm-hmm. I never worked closely with him. We've met a couple of times, but I think he'll go in the history books as having done some great things at that university, especially supporting the IT industry in this country and the people in the IT industry.
Yes, and if he saw you and saw that you could do something, he did whatever it took to support you to do that. So he actually gave my I had a company called Brandfield, and he gave me business and gave me permissions to do incredible things. I am proud that I broke a wall in that main building to create a lounge.
Wow.
Do you know the bureaucracy to get to do that?
To do that.
I almost got myself killed.
Judith. So, IT. Mm-hmm. Where do you get to practice these IT things that you have studied?
You know, IT is now lifestyle.
Yes, it is.
So I found myself
it's a soft skill.
Yes, it's a soft skill. IT, it saved my life because every time I was in a space, by that time, IT officers behaved like they were the best thing that happened to humankind since sliced bread.
I know. It was cool.
Yes, and they would make everything sound so complicated.
Yes.
Not knowing that programming is zeros and ones.
Yep.
So that, first of all, got me a job in UCB then now, permanent job. I was volunteering. Young people today don't know how to volunteer. But I got myself a job, and I didn't ask for it. But the senior management then, UCB was a powerful institution. They had general managers. If he entered a lift, you got out. Yes. But they did give me a job.
If you said that on Twitter now, violent people ask you, where is it
violence.
now? Where is it now?
No, but they were amazing people. They were brilliant people. And I'm being very honest about this. I've not worked in any organization that had systems like UCB had.
Until companies like MTN arrived, something like
I'm not even sure they can match it.
Wow.
I'm being very honest. This institution had great systems, had great people, had great initiatives.
So Judith, IT.
IT.
How do you end up now going for marketing?
So I am in IT and I'm looking at all these cool people. I am in PR, doing my thing, and I realized that PR is just one of the tools of marketing. And those who know me, I always like the maximum points. So I'm thinking, why do I only specialize in this?
Let me go for this mother thing.
Yes. But most importantly, here is why I went for marketing. So I'm leaving UCB. Oh, let me say Stanbic, because Stanbic had taken over.
Yeah.
I tell this lady who used to smoke in our faces as they were taking over that I have to leave. She says, no, you're not part of the people we are cleaning out. I said, you're cleaning up people who have raised me. I need to go. So I apply and go to another bank called Housing Finance.
Where was she from?
South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say something, but the
It
South
was
Africans
bloody.
may not take
It
it
was
well,
bloody.
so
Don't
let me
even
not
say
it.
It was bloody. Anyway, also going through that restructuring time, again, dots connect backwards. Part of what I witnessed then is what gave me the strength and the resilience to carry on when I left the bank. I had seen people die. Actually, one of the reasons I wanted to leave, I was writing obituaries. You know, when you're in PR, you're the one who writes the obituaries.
Yeah.
You're the one who looks for the flowers.
Yeah.
It was crazy. My boss, Mr. Nsimambi Daniel, was amazing. We used to call him Chief. He mentored me very well. Everything in practice that I do, he taught me. He taught me how to take it in, how to thrive. But part of the PR we're doing, I don't remember UCB having a marketing department then. PR was also doubling as marketing. Yeah. But I didn't have the paper qualification. Yeah. So I went to do an interview across the road in Housing Finance. And I had read a book on principles of marketing. And so I nailed the interview, but I didn't have the papers.
So this is on Kampala Road?
Yes.
UCB Towers Housing Finance
across the road. So I saw an advert in the papers because I was desperate to leave Stanbic, and I applied. And then I get a phone call, and I don't even know where the bank is. I didn't know it was across the road. It didn't have a lot of visibility.
No, it was such a small bank then.
Yes. So I get there, and I look around, and I'm looking at all these things, having worked in the central bank, having had the background now with UCB and Stanbic, and I'm thinking, but these guys can do better. I sit in the interview room, challenge them on 1, 2, 3 things. They keep quiet. I didn't know I was setting myself up. And then I left. And then they called me back and said, but why did you apply for this job for marketing officer? Why didn't you apply for the senior role?
Yeah.
So that's how I applied for it. They said, can you come for an interview? This time you'll meet the board. You won't meet us as management. I said, fine. So I went, did the interview. The job was for marketing. It was not for just PR. So I asked them that we could make it marketing and PR, but the role was to start the department. Very big shoes. But I was at that age when you think you can take on the world.
Wow.
I went and enrolled for an MBA in marketing. I enrolled for CIM. I enrolled for everything that I could land on that would help me to prove to these people that everything I had said I could do.
You could do it, indeed.
I talked to the seniors, the Aldrin and Sobogas. I talked to everybody in the industry. I would look for them and have coffee, and then they would tell me how to make a marketing plan, how to do all these things.
Days before ChatGPT.
Man, you people have cheated us. Oh, you people with ChatGPT, Google, you need to thank the Lord. There was nothing of the sort. You had to go through scratch.
All that comes with a whole new set of challenges.
Yes. I oftentimes joke that I have an obsolete degree in IT. Because I am sure nothing works like that anymore.
Need a refresher course there.
I do. And so my background in IT helped me to know how to position myself even in marketing. You know, marketing, I don't know why they don't merge it with IT in a lot of instances, because the two work well together.
Yeah.
So I found myself very competitive in that space. If I needed to create PowerPoints, at that time they used to call it freelance.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that? that package. Yeah. So I used to use freelance. One of the things that got me a lot of attention in UCB, I used to do freelance presentations for exhibitions and all of these things. And so that helped. When I came into marketing, I didn't just start the marketing department. I started to look around. There were many things that I needed to connect with that were missing. So I started research and development for products. You need to have some IT to do that.
Yeah.
I started customer service. Shortly before I left, I successfully put up the current contact center that's at Housing Finance. I started to connect very many dots. Then I would be able to sit in a boardroom and have a different kind of conversation when it came to innovation.
Wow.
So it's not as obsolete as it sounds. It actually did work. And then when I did the MBA, it helped me to do the rebrand of Housing Finance Bank, which is what launched me officially on the corporate scene. Turning housing finance around, changing, designing the logos, changing the colors, working on the footprint to open branches, but most importantly, getting that commercial banking license, supporting the team at the bank to make sure that, because you see, when you do marketing and product development, you drive the business.
Yes.
So I realized then we can't keep a mortgage, which is long term.
Because of the kind of license that you hold.
Yes. And yet I needed to support the business to increase on its liquidity. So then we pushed to get the commercial banking license.
I mean, you are coming from the largest commercial bank in the country.
No, but also the leadership then was great. Mr. Queer, Mr. Kabonero, God bless their souls. We don't have that kind of leadership anymore in this town. They were incredible gentlemen. They had survived the run on the bank. They were men of integrity. They were men of their word. And they supported me a lot to be able to grow and to be able to express all these things that I was learning. In between, I was learning too many other things. All of it intending to help me build the bank, because they made you feel a sense of ownership. And so you're able to exert yourself. You're able to experiment, you're able to communicate differently, you're able to create products. All the products, I don't know if they've created a new product since I left, but all the basket of products that are there, I am proud to say that I had a hand in it.
A hand in putting them together.
Apart from the mortgages and the savings, but the commercial banking and all these things, that's a lot of learning.
It's a lot of learning. Judith, in hindsight, when you were a child or growing up, what did you ever want to be?
To the best of my recollection, every young girl in our days, who anyone told that you're pretty, we wanted to be air hostesses.
You're not the first one. I can confirm.
We wanted to be air hostesses. I wanted to be an air hostess. I wanted to be a nun. I tried. They didn't admit me in the convent, but I tried.
Yeah.
And for some strange reason, little girls played maid or brides. Not for me. I never dreamt of that white gown and stuff like that. It came later. Then much as I grew older, I wanted to become a lawyer. Not because I even knew what lawyers do, but because it sounded cool.
Seeing the number of courses you studied along the way, I cannot say that it's off limits yet.
No, I've actually thought about it. If I did a short stint at LDC,
you'd be good to go.
It'd be good to go.
The reason I asked Judith is, along your journey, you know, IT, marketing, mass comm, and all that, did you ever see yourself in those spaces, or it was just one thing leading to another?
I think, Solomon, I've lived this, I don't want to call it a strange life, but I've lived a life that I can't explain in the context of how everyone else seems to have their life well planned, well put together.
Yeah.
That has not been my life. My life has been divinely orchestrated. I can say that with confidence now. Before, I didn't know. So as the Lord leads my steps, I find myself in spaces that are difficult to explain because they were never part of my plan. What is my plan anyway? I didn't have one.
Exactly.
I never used to think. I never used to worry. Yesterday I was counseling a young lady. I told her, when I was in your shoes, I would sleep. If there was no food, I would sleep. But generally, I never lacked. And yet I was supposed to be in that box of lack, of suffering. When you look at all the odds, that's where I was supposed to sit. But I never sat there.
Can you then say, because there's this thing, oh, you have to plan, you have to know where you're going, you have to have whatever. Can you then say that for someone who feels they fall short in planning and seeing where they are in 5 years and so on, can they confidently be diligent at what they are doing now?
Yes, Solomon, I can say that with confidence. Actually, one of the questions I struggle to answer in an interview, a conversation like this, is where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know. If I could, I would say that, but you have to be politically correct and look like you have the world figured out. Isn't that what the world is teaching us?
I'm glad I didn't ask, where do you see check-in going next?
I don't know. I don't know. Seeing that I have about 10 businesses behind me, maybe it will be prospering.
No, but
maybe it will evolve the way it evolved from check-in with Judith. I honestly don't know, but I am not trying to dispel the importance
of planning. And visioning.
It is good, yes, because you need to have a plan, you need to have a vision, but it must be subject to God's will.
You know, the word says we make our plans, but God guides our steps.
Hallelujah.
That's the classic story of your life.
And that is my life. So what are the chances that I'm here making briquettes? Yesterday I was asking someone, come on, even 6 years ago, I didn't know that I'd be making briquettes. I'm doing a good job at it.
Let me ask you,
I'm proud of what we are doing at Check-in Africa.
Yes, I know you're building something revolutionary here, but who needs briquettes? Let me ask, like,
yeah, that's it.
Like they say, yeah, like a fella.
That's an important question. So let me first tell you very quickly. During COVID and post-COVID, my nephew Joshua used to drive and bring me 4 bags of charcoal from Lower. They would get finished in under 2 weeks.
Wow.
I was struggling. They were expensive. I am a representation of very many families in this town.
Yeah.
Smoky, dirty, expensive. Sometimes it doesn't work. They tell you, mami de la mandagaganye.
And environmental degrading.
Thank you very much. Now, again, those who have worked with me, they know my passion about the environment. When I was at Housing Finance, I put together, working with the head of risk and environmental policy, and I planted a tree. It has my name on it at the bank. I hope it's still there. And I've always cared about the environment. My children know you don't litter. If you litter, even if you're Mr. Who, I will park. Yeah. These people who throw things through the car window, I will park and you will go and pick it. Why? Nature is beautiful. Nature is who we are. When we destroy it, we are destroying ourselves. So who needs briquettes? Everybody. Everybody that cooks, everybody that loves good food, everybody that loves a clean environment, everybody that is struggling with firewood as it has become very expensive, everybody that is struggling with heating needs. Gas is also not cheap. Electricity is not cheap. Oh, these days it's called what? Light is not lighting. I have been wondering if anyone can come and take away that little white thing they brought to my house. You put money and it just swallows it, and that's it. So everybody that needs to hire a Kamufu to go and touch in their electricity so they can cook, they don't need to do that. We actually have a stove called Kamufu at Check in Africa. It saves you. It's affordable. It's only 25,000. The briquettes are only 2,000 shillings a kilo. If you are challenged by your maid every time you're driving out says, Amanda Gawedeo, and you say, what happened? That's
like every...
then you need that. If you have a school, if you have an institution where you cook for your workers, be kind to them. There is a report from WHO. It is clear that 90% of all lung cancers in this country and in sub-Saharan Africa is a cumulative effect of people inhaling biomass, the smoke from the biomass.
Yeah.
And so we have to be intentional. I don't know in many other languages what they call that black stuff that goes up. In my language, they call it omiyadi.
Soot.
Yes, that one. So soot.
By the time it collects there.
You see how it collects on the rooftop of your mother's kitchen? Yes, so it does not even have anywhere to hang in your lungs because God created us. What's that word that says we're fearfully and wonderfully made? So much so that when that soot enters your body, the body quickly tries to figure out how to get rid of it. Unfortunately or fortunately, the only mechanism it has is your blood. Yes. Has to run through the veins, has to run through the whole organs, so that you can take it out of your body.
Somehow.
In that process, the toxins spread in your body. We need to take this subject very seriously. So at Check in Africa, we are a social enterprise. I didn't give up on my charity.
Judith,
we need you to be healthy.
We are way past our 30 minutes. But listen, I still have to ask a layman question.
Please ask.
What's the difference between a briquette, a piece of briquette,
and a piece of charcoal? Wow, what an amazing, amazing question. So, charcoal is when people go and cut wood, and then they carbonize it and...
in English? Burn it.
They burn it. They burn it. They cover
it up in
the soil, and then when you use it, it creates smoke. It has emissions that are harmful to your health.
Yeah, we all know how much smoke charcoal does in the stove or whatever. So
that's the difference. Now, the briquette, we mix a couple of things, including charred biomass like charcoal, and repurpose it, recycle it, improve it in a manner that those emissions
are not there.
Yeah, they can be reduced depending on how one runs the process, but at least they are minimalized.
Yes.
Okay, to a space where they are not harmful.
Yes.
Then we eliminate smoke, and then it is clean. Then we compact it. We have machines. We process. Let me tell you the process. So we mix. We have mixers. We first get a crusher because they are big particles.
Yes.
You crush it.
Them too.
Yes, we crush them, and then we put them in a mixer with other ingredients, including binders, including fire enhancers, and then we put it into an extruder, and then we create the briquette as you see it. And then once it comes out, we dry it. We put it into a dryer, and then we dry it, and then it's ready for sale. When you use it, it is solid. It stays together. Yeah. It does not litter ash.
Yes.
Like the
charcoal
does or the firewood.
The firewood does. Yes.
It is safe. You can use it indoors, and if you use stoves such as the Check in Africa stoves, we heat insulate them, so the heat stays
inside.
Yes, and then because they are customized, the combustion just works very well. And then you're able to cook. They cook 3 times longer than charcoal.
So a briquette in a check-in stove is like the perfect combination.
Absolutely.
To keep the heat in.
Yes.
Because a normal charcoal stove, the heat will emit.
It emits, then the stove becomes hot, then the ground on which the stove is standing becomes hot. But I think I have done an experiment where we have put our stove on a plastic surface.
Yeah.
And we have cooked and food got ready and the fire was still on and the plastic surface was intact. And you can use this fire, our briquettes, we have one which goes for 6 to 8 hours, the honeycomb. For example, people who are brooding chickens.
Yeah.
Why do you stay awake at night? Okay, one of the businesses I did was that one. I had a poultry farm there in Bokoto.
Judith.
So you don't stay awake at night. The chicks, you warm them up with a briquette.
Judith, I'm going to put you on the spot with this one.
Okay.
1, 2, 3 things that you can say got you to thrive on your journey of life in business and at work.
Thank you. The first one is God. And God and God. The second one is commitment. To be committed, whatever you choose to do. If you are a sweeper, sweep like no one knows how to sweep. When I talk to people, sometimes they think I act like I'm all-knowing. No, it's because as a communication specialist, which is my first job, my first love. I will speak and explain to you like you know nothing. It's not because I think you know nothing, but it's because the responsibility for you to understand lies on me. I'm accountable for that. So commitment, diligence, but most importantly, honesty and integrity. And that's becoming very expensive in this town. I will not go down that road.
No, we shall not go down that road. But I'm going to take you back to the first one.
Yes.
I get that a lot. People throw it around. God.
Yes.
What about God, practically speaking, Judith? Because that can be interpreted in many ways.
Do you want me to tell you a bizarre story?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could use a bizarre story to close.
One of those out of life stories. So, I told you I worked in several financial institutions. So there's a time I was working in one financial institution. When I was done with the work that the Lord had sent me to do there, I resigned. And I started Brandfield Advertising.
Yes.
While I was there, the Lord guided my steps back to a former employer. And I was there saying, now you can give me the work that I didn't finish before I left. I can do it as a consultant. Yes. And the gentleman, I will name him Mr. Kabonero and Mr. Kui. They told me, but we've never re-advertised for your job. We're just about to advertise for it 3 years down the road. Who is that? Who quits a job and 3 years down the road they tell you you can reapply for it? If you pass through the interviews, God bless you. If you fail, that's your business.
Wow.
I reapplied, and the rest is history. I went back. I was the first human being to go back to a place in that bank when you have left.
Wow.
And as such, the Lord opened that door. There are many people after me who have gone and come back. Previously, if you left, that was it. You left. You were criminalized. You were demonized. Many institutions do that. So, when I went back, this is where the bizarre story starts. I worked. Went through some corporate corridor shenanigans, and it was time to leave. And I was on my knees, daily asking God, why did you bring me back? Because I had gotten appointment letters from 5 other institutions before I went back. And each time I prayed, the Lord said, wait. And I was in a furnace, Solomon. A furnace. And I kept a straight smile. I cried a lot, washed my face and showed up every day, very early in the morning, left very late in the night. I cried to God every day to take me out. And he said, wait. Then one day, 7 p.m. plus, I'm in my office, typing away as usual, doing my work. I would do my work after hours because during the day my office was like a beehive. Everybody, for whatever reason, came in. The ones who wanted counseling, the ones who wanted
the only
whatever.
time where you get time to yourself to focus is after 5 when staff have gone home.
Yes.
And the
So that's when I would start to do my work, prepare my reports. Because it was a tight situation, I had to make sure that I'm 5 steps ahead of the enemy every day. So I hear a voice. It says, it's time. You need to go. I look around, there was no one, Solomon. There was no one. I type again, it says, I said it's time. And it was so clear to me that that meant that it was time for me to leave the bank. I look around. Do you know when you've been in an office for 9 years, what you have in your office as a woman? There's a shoe, there's a broken one, there's a good one, there's a cup, there's too many things. But the most important thing that I kept in my office for those who visited my office, there was always a very big statue of Mother Mary and a crucifix. And so my heart started palpitating very, very fast. I pick the statue, I pick the crucifix. I always knew that the day I pick them, that's the last day I'll be in office.
Yes.
I pick them, I look at my laptop. I'm thinking maybe I leave the laptop. Then I remembered some incident had happened and my laptop had been taken and some manipulations had been done to it. So I said, no, I won't leave it here. I pick it. So I start to run to get out of my office. There's no one on the floor. It's all deserted. It's empty. Those who know me know I'm lazy. Get to the lift. I press the button. The voice says there's no time. I run through the staircase. It's pitch dark. I get into the basement. It's dark. I run to my car. I close. I had a nice car. It had heavy doors. So when it closed, I would feel comfortable because it would auto lock.
It's like you're in a vacuum of sorts.
Yes. So I am holding all these things. My jacket, my things are falling.
Mother Mary.
Yes. And a big one at that. And so I start to drive out. My spirit tells me to use the route which we use when we are entering. So it's what I use to exit. I reach at the gate. There is a guard. I don't know him. He's doing this, beckoning me very quickly to get out. And I'm wondering, there's no jam. There's no one behind me. Why is he
chasing me to go back and
use the proper exit? Calling me like this. So I drive out. My heart is palpitating. I drove up to Nyonyi Gardens.
Yeah.
Things down here falling. And when I reached Nyonyi Gardens, I park in the middle of the road because my heart had stopped palpitating. Cars are hooting. I am quiet, putting my things on the side, in the middle of the road. And then I asked the voice, so where do I drive to? It never answered. I never heard
it again.
Yeah. So I go home. I'm talking to God, I'm saying, so after these people have been witch hunting me and making my life a living hell, now you're handing over to them a victory. They're going to fire me for absconding from duty? Really? Nothing. No sound, no response, no understanding. Not even a word that comes to mind. The only thing I felt like was heavy sleep. I entered my bed and slept. In the morning, Solomon, I woke up. I was sick. My pressure was through the roof. My sugar levels were through the roof. I called the doctor. I will mention him because he can attest to this. Dr. Makowole, I called him. Nigeria Hospital. I said, Doctor, I'm dying. He told me, Judy, I told you to leave that job. It's going to kill you. I told him, this time I am dying. I can't drive to come. Who does he send me? One of his staff. Who? A lab technician. Who gives you a lab technician to come and pick you from your home? Isn't that God? Who does all those things we are talking about? And for me, that's normal. That's how God has worked in my life. I have had near-death experiences. I told you some time back, I survived Kanungu. I have survived so many things that people cannot believe. Actually, I told somebody recently that if I sat on a flight and somebody told me the story of my life, I would tell the cab guy who picks me that I met a liar. But that is God, the God of the impossible. God has given me children. God has given me jobs. God has given me favor. If I went to attend a wedding where I was not invited, I'll sit in front, I can guarantee you.
Listen, Judith.
That's God.
I know. I have seen that happen not too long ago. Not that I saw you attending a wedding where you are not invited, but anyway, listen, so, practically speaking, how would you advise a young woman, young man going about his work, whether business or corporate, to give it all to God in practical terms? 1, 2 maybe things they can do briefly.
You know, when I'm talking about God, we are taught to quote a lot of scripture for people, but sometimes people don't have the revelation for the scriptures.
Every time you hear it, it hits different.
Yes,
depending on
where you are starting. That is true. So sometimes I don't use a lot of scripture when I'm talking to young people. I ask them to read their Bible. To pay attention and listen to that small voice. There is that, that voice that says, now it's time. It started slowly. Now it's time. And I'm thinking, time for what? Who is talking to me? But God always speaks all the time. All the time. Listen to God's voice. 2, don't be afraid, because God did not give us a spirit of fear. 3, skill yourself. Be knowledgeable. It's amazing how many things I have read and how they fall together. I didn't tell you I belong to an honorable group called the Tablers. We read books every Thursday. We meet and sit and read a book. And it's almost 10 years. Every Thursday, we sit at Serena and read. But we are so different, each one of us in our own ways. So read. Not only the Bible, but also other literature. Expose yourself. Be a person that is committed to what you do. Innovate. Don't do something and stick with it. When I started with briquettes, I didn't stop there. I realized I needed stoves. And and I didn't tell you. Check in Africa, we have a WhatsApp group. It has 1,000 people.
Effective stoves to match the briquette.
Yes. Create a community. Give back. Volunteer. Sometimes work overtime. It's okay. I think I am on record all the years of my life that I worked. I have never filed money for overtime. Never in my life.
Put in some extra hours.
Yes, it's okay. Give back.
Yes.
And a lot of times, even when I had the privilege to use a company car, I used my personal car.
Judith, you are going to come back. Earlier you mentioned that people these days don't know how to volunteer.
Yes.
That kind of ties back in that.
Yes, people need to volunteer.
I think...
and people need to finish, Solomon. If you start something, finish it. If you give someone your word, these days because of technology, people are fickle. Someone says this and then changes it tomorrow. If you're unable to make it, apologize, but try by all means to keep your word. A man's word is his bond. It speaks louder than any agreement that you will sign with anyone. And trust God and trust the process. My friends, trust the process. You don't become, you don't become Sudil in 6 months.
That's how long he has built his empire.
Yeah, you put in the work.
I've told young people that your willingness to volunteer, it could be the thing that's standing between you
and your next big break.
because no one knows what you're capable of, and no one is willing to pay you to do what they don't know you're capable of doing.
Yes.
So how do you showcase what you're capable of?
That is true. And today young people think because they can talk to ChatGPT and all these things, that they know it all. A lot of times when you're talking to young people, you see them impatient. Young people must know that there is a process. Even when God was creating, there was a process. So they must. Yes, he took his time.
Man.
Yes.
Imagine he created man.
Can you imagine if he created? He would have sunk in that water or something. So there is a process. They must trust the process, and if they cannot, they must get some mentors. They must get some coaches. The best people. Today's speech, there's no one who is successful that isn't coachable. They must remain teachable. They must remain humble. Humility. For me, by the way, one of the things that helped me to thrive and survive was my mother taught me a lot about humility. It's okay to know that you know, but please be humble. Be humble enough. And also respect. That God, you don't know why he was beckoning me, because every time I'd come from lunch, I'd carry a doggy pack, and whichever God I found at the gate, I shared.
And a lot of times those doggy packs go to waste, or they go to the dogs.
So what I can say to young people, be teachable, be humble, learn the magic words that we have taught you as parents. They are simple. Thank you. I am sorry. Those words are disappearing. And yet, those are the words that can get you into a job or get you out of a job. I will say one last thing. You are hired on your papers. And I can confidently tell you, Solomon, that all my papers were first class.
Wow.
All of them. But you are fired on character.
How did we get to firing?
Yes.
But I get it. You're hired on paper.
Yes.
It's your character that gets to keep you there.
Yes. And your value system. A lot of people don't have their own values. They don't have their own mission statement. They don't have their own vision statement. These things are very important. Even when you live a spontaneous life like I do, they are extremely important. There are people who know that if you said Judy did this, no, she didn't.
I have a
yes,
story.
She did.
I have a story. I'm not going to tell it.
You should.
Listen, our viewers and listeners, Judith is impossible to exhaust, as you may have noticed. She has hit, I don't know whose record for being the longest episode. My sincere apologies if you felt it was too long, but you can munch it in bits until you exhaust it. Judith, thank you very much for joining us at Business Chronicles. We'll definitely be back and delve into each of those things that we talked about shallow.
Yes,
we
thank
can
you
dive
for
deep
having
into
me.
them and
thank you. But if you allow me a last word, I'd
Yeah.
like to encourage people to make a switch. Stop using charcoal. Stop using firewood. Use briquettes. We can teach you how to use them. We can even teach you how to make them, so that we together we can come back to that one commandment that I think we need to incorporate after the one of loving one another. There's that one that we must respect the environment.
Yes.
So the briquettes are cheap. A pack of 1 kilo is only 2,000 shillings, so everybody can afford it. And then we can together restore the integrity and sanctity of our country, of the universe, of the environment where we belong and where we thrive. And may God bless you all. And thank you for indulging me for longer than 30 minutes. May you be blessed.
Bless you too, Judith. On that note, on your closing note, click the next video. It should be popping up now about her product and learn a bit more about it. Her contacts are in the description below. If you want to engage her on the check-in business or any personal business, she's willing to help and share and mentor someone.
Yes, I am.
I hope you don't get overwhelmed, but my name is Solomon Tumwesigye. Until the next episode, I'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.